time to go Cruzin Northwest.
Hi, welcome to Cruzin Northwest. We're here at Bush's today for the Northwest GTO Legends Muscle Car Meet. I'm Dick Page, and we're going to be talking with some of these fine folks, looking at some of these beautiful cars in a few minutes. Right now, we have a special treat for you, a report on the AA fuel alters at Seattle International Raceways with our own Phil Elliott. Take it away, Phil.
Well, thanks a lot, Dick. We're out here at Seattle International Raceways at the annual Fox Hunt. We're going to cover the fuel alters, the ultimate hot rods. We're going to go do some interviews with some of the drivers. We'll see a lot of cars and a lot of action. Hot rodders have always made a habit of stacking more and more horsepower into cars with less and less weight. Some cars evolved into dragsters, while other builders liked the challenge of going fast in something that still looked like an automobile. Gross amounts of modifications put these cars in a class called altered. Nitromethane is the fuel, and the big challenge is to get a short wheelbase Model T or Fiat Coupe with 500 times its original horsepower from start to finish on a quarter-mile drag strip. Fuel altered fans once came out by the thousands to watch their favorite drivers wrestle these overpowered, ill-tempered little cars. But by the early 70s, track promoters had switched their focus to the more identifiable funny car. Fan excitement turned away from the old hot rods, and for the era between 73 and 85, fuel altereds were relegated to history books. However, when magazines showed historical coverage of the breed, letter writing was heavily in favor of seeing more. Knowing this, a couple of die-hard altered owners began making sporadic West Coast appearances, and eventually there was enough spectator demand to turn the tide, hence the rediscovery of the fuel altered. He doesn't look too severe there with his Mickey Mouse suspenders on, but this is Richard Langston, all the way from Carson City, Nevada, via Texas or wherever you're from.
Austin, Texas, yeah, Phil.
Austin, Texas?
Right, Austin, Texas.
Well, you're fresh off an Eastern tour with this car. How were you accepted back there?
Well, the people were very nice to us. We went to Englishtown, New Jersey was our first stop, and one of my friends had a little accident there, so he was taken out of the tour. After that, we went over to Epping, New Hampshire and run the fuel altered, and the fans absolutely went wild. They really loved it.
This other gentleman right here in the black and orange is George Walker. He books the fuel altereds, basically their agent. Where are you from?
My hometown's in Rutherford, New Jersey, but presently I'm with the Texas Ranger team out of Carson City, Nevada.
So how are you doing with booking these old-time hot rods?
Well, the old-time hot rods have been really successful this year. This is probably the biggest year the fuel alters have had. Next year, our plans already began, and looks like it'll even be a larger year for next year. We've had the been in a fortunate position to pick up Quaker State and Kmart as sponsors of our events, and they are very, very happy with us and have committed to us next year also.
Richard, what kind of comment about this car?
Well, this car was built in 1979, Phil. Dave Miller, Road America, would help me design the canopy and actually do the fabrication work. It took us about a year to build it. It was inspired by the glass slipper, by the way. That was one of my favorite cars way back in the 50s. And then we put a Can-Am type front end on it to smooth out the air, and we went out to Pomona in October and we set a speed record with it.
Well, that's right. You actually tried to qualify with the top fuel dragsters.
That's correct, Phil. We were out there. We didn't know if we were going to be able to qualify or not, but we gave it a good shot. And at the time, we made a final pass. Came back and we found out that we had broken the world record with it and gotten a lot of publicity for the fuel alters, and that's what I wanted to do.
Not everyone in the pits is capable of a speed record. When we come back, we'll talk to a few more of the men and have a look at their machines.
For quality collision repairs, Meridian Collision Center has the latest in bench systems and the largest in truck systems. With over 16 years experience at one location, we have the knowledge to repair it all. Our laser alignment system sets front and rear end alignment to better than factory specifications. Finishes are skillfully matched in the largest paint rooms in the area. A top quality repair job is insured with a 3-year written warranty on workmanship. Let Meridian Collision Center straighten you out.
You drive a Corvette because it's special. And when it needs service or repairs, you want it treated just that way. That's why Pacific Corvette is in business to provide special equipment and expertise for body repairs, alignment, suspension, parts. More than 5,000 different components are in stock at Pacific Corvette, where they treat your special car just that way. Pacific Corvette at 112th and Canyon Road in Puyallup, where your car and you are special. A treasure house of automotive parts, a source for the impossible-to-find part, a factory to create that special part. It's all that and more. It's Hagen's. Hagen's Auto Parts at 8526 River Road in Puyallup, and it's special. Like a museum, but alive with parts. Anything and everything mechanical for your car. Now, there aren't any fenders or truck lids, but there are working parts at Hagen's Auto Parts in Puyallup. If Hagen's hasn't got it, it probably wasn't made. Suppose you were looking for a 1932 three-window Ford Coupe. Yeah, that's a tough one to find. Probably have to build it. Better yet, let Vintique Reproductions build it for you. That's what they do. It's incredible. They literally recreate the classics. Vintique Reproductions at 9318 24th Avenue East, just off Highway 512 south of Tacoma. Call for a complete catalog of their line of fiberglass body structures, parts, and accessories. Vintique Reproductions, where the past comes alive.
Hi, I'm with Dave Benjamin now from Bellevue, Washington. He's here with the Nasty Benjamin 27T Roadster. Dave, you run a 27 as most of the guys run 23Ts. Is there a difference there?
Oh, slightly. It fits the chassis a little bit better. I don't know that the aerodynamics is any better. I just like the 27 more.
Well, your car differs as well because you've built so many of the parts on the engine yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it'd be easier to tell you what I didn't build. Basically, I built the car, the magneto drives, the fuel pump drives, I built cylinder heads for it. I don't have the cylinder heads I built on it at the moment. That's on my spare motor. Just about everything on the cars, with the exception of the block, the crank, and the blower, I've built myself.
We're here in the sunshine with Gary Farish. He's all the way from Oxnard, California, with the Outlaws 23T. Gary, what's it like to drive a fuel-altered? You're brand new at this.
Well, it's been quite an experience. The car has much more power than anything I've ever driven. It has a tendency to pull all the way down the track, where the other cars had a tendency, maybe three-quarter track would sort of nose over and they were a little bit out of power, but this pulls all the way down. It's quite different.
Well, you ran the same car basically with an injected motor, and then you've changed over to a fuel-altered.
Well, we ran the car as an injected funny car. It was the car that was in the Shirley Muldowney movie Heart Like a Wheel in the fire scene.
You run a 30-year-old Chrysler motor, a real live cast iron Chrysler. Let's have a look at it.
Sure. Well, this motor is actually one of the sounds that made drag racing. It came out of a 1957 Chrysler Imperial. It started the top fuel class, and the sound that we heard many, many years ago. We're running a basic combination that a few fellows ran a little more fuel than they did, but we're not really trying to improve the motor anymore. We feel that's already been done. We're just trying to make the engine competitive and enjoy the piece.
Rod Hines, really a name in fuel-altered racing. The ultimate hot rod came to Seattle in something that looks like it should be at Woodland Park. Tell us a little bit about this trailer.
The trailer. This is obviously the ultra-low buck, double throwdown, rebuild it yourself deal. We built this thing, scratched the funds together. My partner's a teacher at Cerritos College. The auto shop decided to donate us a little bit of time and money, and here we go. We're starting, and it's been this way for 3 months. It's time for the skin, but we've got to make some money racing before we can put some skin on it.
Well, now this is a new car for you this year. You've only got a few runs, maybe 4 or 5. You ran another car for about 10 years under the Coors Light and some other banners. Tell us a little bit about this new car.
This new car is pretty much the up-to-date, state-of-the-art technology and funny car type chassis. Unfortunately, it has been you could take it right from a funny car and put a funny car body on it, but it'll never see a funny car body. You're looking at the ultimate diehards when it comes to fuel-altered racers.
Well, we just talked to Gary Farish, and he runs a 30-year-old motor. This looks like about a 20-year-old motor. It's a Donovan with some 30-year-old Chrysler heads on it.
Exactly. It's still a low-buck deal until we can get Coors to really cough up a few bucks for us. We're going to stick with the iron heads and the aluminum block, and hopefully that'll keep us competitive. So far, we've run real good with it. The car hasn't run under 208 miles an hour. We've set top speed of the meet at both meets we've gone to, and we're thrilled to death. We think it'll run 220 tonight here for Seattle.
Well, thanks very much for your time, Rod, and good luck with this new car. We sure look for it to go 220 tonight. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, you cars, if you're 69 or older, you're obsolete. You may need refreshing at RB's Obsolete Automotive in Snohomish. What a storehouse of automotive refreshments. RB's Obsolete. Exit 194 at Everett to Old Highway 2. Come on in. Pick up our free catalog or call for any imaginable part. 568-5669. RB's ships daily, anywhere. So get refreshed. After all, you can be obsolete and still be neat, can't you? They just don't build them like that anymore, and they haven't since about 1971. These are the classics, and they're worth some TLC. At Thumbs Up, the Classic Car Care Center at 166th and Meridian on Puyallup, South Hill. Restoration, rebuilding, repair, maintenance, they do it all at the one-stop Classic Car Service Center, Thumbs Up. Move forward to the past. Call Thumbs Up today. Ask about their brand of TLC, Total Lasting Care. Thumbs Up, just north of Thunfield on Meridian in Puyallup.
Van conversions, truck conversions, car conversions. At the Van Factory, we do all of this and more. Here at the Van Factory, we use only the highest quality materials, like acrylic enamel paint, which holds up better than lacquer for our Northwest weather. The insulation we use won't cause rust on interior walls, and our carpets are all high-grade, synthetic backed, which prevents mildew. At the Van Factory, we guarantee the finest quality and service. For a look that will last, come to the Van Factory.
Backed by popular demand. The greatest rock and roll offer from the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. Those fabulous hits by the original artists. No, you still don't need your credit card, check, or money order to take advantage of this incredible offer. The golden era of rock and roll, absolutely free 24 hours a day. Only from Seattle's oldie station, KVI 570 AM.
For those of you who tuned in late, Cruzin Northwest has gone to the drag races. We're here with Jim Trillo, who drives the Trillo Brothers and Wife Fuel Altered from San Jose, California. Jim, this car really does fit into the fuel altered category as an old-time car, a little bit shorter than the usual car.
Yeah, we built it that way, so...
Well, you're still a fairly low-buck operation. Fuel altereds are pretty much the ultimate hot rod, aren't they?
Yeah, like my wife, she sponsored this car. I mean, she's the one that works and supports it, and she really likes it, so that's why we keep running it.
I'm here now with Mike Reed, driver, and let's see, Richard Scrivener. How about that?
Yeah, that's...
Where are you guys from?
I'm out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. I'm from Boise, Idaho.
Boise and Idaho Falls. What's the distance of that apart?
About 280.
Almost 300 miles for a team to go back and forth to work on a fuel altered. Now today you've been really working on this car. A little bit of problem, quite a bit of smoke out of the motor earlier on warm-up. What was the problem?
We put a new blower on the car and didn't have seals in it, and it sucked a bunch of oil out of the front of the blower case into the motor. It was just an unforeseeable problem, but it had us a little worried there for a little bit because we wasn't sure where the problem was, but we located it, and we're ready to run now.
Richard, tell me a little bit about this team.
I myself have run Super Gas and Super Comp, and I got tired of the brake light racing, and Mike was in the process of building a funny car. Neither one of us really had the funds to campaign both our cars. And so I called him up one day and says, let's put together the ultimate hot rod.
Certainly looks nice. Called Brain Damage. Is there anything to that name?
Well, I had a 1955 Chevrolet I put on its lid and flipped it 8 times down at Firebird, and my buddy said I had brain damage for even getting back into one.
Well, Brain Damage is certainly a good name for a fuel-altered. When race time comes, the fuel altereds are a spectacular show. People come from miles around to see a pair like Rod Hines and Richard Langston burn out, back up, and make their runs. But let's let a couple of the drivers tell us exactly what fuel altereds mean to them. First, Jim Trillo.
A lot of people said, let's put a funny car body on it. I said, no, let's build a fuel altar. That's what we wanted to do, and that's what we did. And
Now stepping to the podium, Rod Hines.
Couldn't find two people who love roadsters as much as us, I believe. At least roadsters on fuel. Now you put alcohol in them, we'd say goodbye, but as long as we can keep pouring nitro on the tank and have a roadster, a early model fuel coupe, anything pre-48, we'll be out there struggling with it, trying to make it work.
That's quite a testimony, but we think Rod can come up with something just a bit stronger.
You'd take both my arms off before I'd let you put a funny car body on this thing.
Nope, Rod Hines did not run 220 miles per hour tonight. In fact, he blew head gaskets on both of his runs. But Mike Reed ran the quickest he's ever run in his life. Dave Benjamin had low ET of the meet on a wild pass where he carried his front wheels clear past the finish line. Richard Langston was the overall winner, but the big winners were the Northwest Fuel Altered fans. They went away with smiles on their faces tonight.
From Seattle International Raceways, this has been Phil Elliott reporting the Fuel Altereds. Now back to you, Dick.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for the special report. Fine job. When we come back, we're going to meet some of these folks and look at some muscle cars. Don't go away.
Hagen's, 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 Hagen's. How many times have you heard the name?
4.
Parts, manuals, magazines, literature, parts, and more parts. Old parts, very old parts, even new parts. More than just one part? How about all the parts? They're all at Hagen's. Hagen's Auto Parts at 8526 River Road in Puyallup. Call the parts number, 845-7020, Hagen's. If Hagen's hasn't got it, it probably wasn't made.
How do you do? I'm Bob Mallon, president of Mallon Ford in South Tacoma. This is what I like to call a no-script commercial. I'd rather work from the heart than from a piece of paper. And in all my years of being in the automobile business, coming from a family that's been selling Fords on South Tacoma Way since 1916, I know a couple of things when it comes to the issue of consumer protection. One is I really recommend that you shop when you're looking for a car. I certainly recommend that you look at Ford. The quality that Ford has to offer today is truly outstanding. And naturally, I recommend that on your list, come to Mallon Ford in South Tacoma. You'll be happy that you did.
On Saturday, August 15th, rain or shine, the 6th Avenue Merchants, in association with Sea First Bank, will present their first annual car show and street fair. And it's going to be a blast. Rods, customs, lowriders, vets, trick trucks, and other special interest vehicles, all cruising the strip. 6th Avenue, just west of Pearl, next Saturday, 11 a.m. till 10 p.m. There's a $4 entry fee per car. And where can you get more fun for your money and cruise the 6th Avenue Strip legally?
Hi, welcome back. In case you just joined us, we're here at Bush's, South Tacoma, for the Northwest Muscle Car Meet. And we're talking to
John Pearson, president of the Northwest GTO Legends Car Club. We're a chapter of the GTO Association of America.
All right, and where are you headquartered, John?
Half our club is out here in the south end of the Tacoma area. The other half is in the north end in the Kirkland and Bellevue area. And we swap back and forth. One month we'll have a meeting here. The next month we'll have a meeting down there.
How many meets like this have your club put on?
This is our club's first meet. Nobody has ever tried to take on putting on an all-muscle car, pony car meet in the Great Northwest, and we felt that there was a need for this. So we've been working on this for the last several months.
This could be real big. Hot Rod Magazine used to put on an event down in,
down in Portland?
Portland area, yeah. I think it was actually in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to do that this year. So there's a real need for this sort of thing. You guys have jumped right in and filled the gap, and if things stay the way they are, this could be a monster next year. You guys could really be onto something.
I think that this is really going to grow to be something real good. There's a demand for it out there. There's definitely a lot of muscle cars out there, you know, the Buicks and the Mopars and the Pontiacs and on and on.
How about your club, John? How long has it been in existence?
We've been in existence as a club now for, this is our 3rd year. We've been an official chapter of the GTO Association for 3 years.
How many members do you have?
We have approximately 80 members at this time.
Wow, big club. That's a lot of work. I belong to the old timers who only got 18 members. We keep it that way on purpose because when you get a lot of members, you get a lot of headaches, a lot of problems, a lot of work, isn't it?
Yes, yes, you do. As you grow, you find that if you don't grow in the way you do things, you have a lot of trouble keeping the club together without problems. And we haven't found that yet, thank heavens.
You got some beautiful cars here today. How many cars from your club do you have represented here?
I believe we have 18 GTOs here from our club. They're only 69 convertible, 66 convertible, 64.
Very rare cars, yeah. Very rare. Well, you guys have done a good job here. This is awful nice of the Bush family to make this space available for everybody, and I know that you guys appreciate it. I heard some of your members talking earlier and what a fine thing they thought this was. I'm really glad to see this. You know, we try to cover a wide spectrum of events, and the late model stuff does admittedly get slighted because most of the events that take place are early car events. And I like this event because this event shows Chevrolets, GTOs, Pontiacs, Oldsmobile 442s. We're going to be looking at a lot of different variety here before we're through today. And thank you very much, John. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And is there anything else you want to say? Anybody you want to thank? Or
I would like to thank the Bushes for opening up their parking lot and their restaurant and inviting us to come out and put this show on. Without their support, we couldn't have done this. It's just overwhelmingly how open and receptive they have been to our club and putting this event on.
We'll be right back after these messages with Anderson's Alley, brought to you by Mike Connie. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
It's a
pleasure.
Real
pleasure.
Hi, I'm Dan Bush. We'll be right back with Cruzin Northwest.
They just don't build them like that anymore, and they haven't since about 1971. These are the classics, and they're worth some TLC. At Thumbs Up, the Classic Car Care Center at 166th and Meridian on Puyallup, South Hill. Restoration, rebuilding, repair, maintenance, they do it all at the one-stop Classic Car Service Center, Thumbs Up. Move forward to the past. Call Thumbs Up today. Ask about their brand of TLC, Total Lasting Care. Thumbs Up, just north of Thunfield on Meridian in Puyallup. Footage for today's show is drawn from Cruzin Northwest's extensive library of events gathered over the last 2 years throughout the Northwest. You'll want to see it all, and you can. Cruzin Northwest is now available for your home video library or as a gift in full 1-hour cassettes of more than 24 different runs and special events. Pick up yours today at any of our sponsors and enjoy.
Back by popular demand. The greatest rock and roll offer from the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. Those fabulous hits by the original artists. No, you still don't need your credit card, check, or money order to take advantage of this incredible offer. The golden era of rock and roll, absolutely free 24 hours a day. Only from Seattle's oldie station, KVI 570 AM.
When the State Patrol went shopping for tire service and maintenance, they picked Pyramid. When Metro needed tire service and maintenance for their fleet, they picked Pyramid. When you select a supplier for your tires and automotive services, pick Pyramid. 3 centers in the Puget Sound area, Burien, Federal Way, and Puyallup. 3 of only 5 AAA-approved shops in the entire state of Washington. Does that say anything to you? Pick Pyramid Tire. Who knows what lurks in Anderson's Alley? Mike Conti does, because he's paying for it.
No, I'm not paying. Tim, I'm not paying for this.
Thank you, Mike. Here's Tim Anderson.
Those of us who own cars would really like to know, is there a person that leaves these little things under the windshield? Or do they just appear mysteriously by accident? Probably not. This one has a lot of information on it. The least attractive part of it is where it costs you a considerable amount of money to have parked the wrong way on the street. Other minor little infractions can generate the same little gift under the windshield. As an example, parking too far from the curb, parking in a way where the wheels are not pointed to the curb downhill, parking overtime almost any place, parking in a bus zone, parking in a truck zone, parking in a no parking zone. Any and all of those kinds of things result in one of these cute little things under the windshield wiper of the car. But have you ever really seen anybody put it there? How does it get there? Is there a machine that flies by and just drops them? I'd like to know. Maybe they're like those coat hangers in the closet at night. They just mysteriously multiply. Well, a little humanitarian gesture here. That's what's happening here in Anderson's Alley. I'm not Tim Anderson, but then neither are you.
Okay, I've seen this. I want a refund.
Thank you, Mike. Mike Conti, the Northwest's foremost expert in custom automotive structures, has graciously brought you Anderson's Alley.
Woo! All right, thank you, Mike Conti. Mike Conti brings us to Anderson's Alley every week. Mike does super suspension work, nice chassis work up there in Graham. All right, we're back at Bush's at the muscle car meet, and I want to thank Pyramid Tires, or we wouldn't be here today. Mark told me that the rags that were on his car almost didn't make it over there to Pyramid Tire. They did a good job for us. Who are we talking to today?
Vern Modes, Dick.
And you have a beautiful red 57 Chevy.
Thank you.
Is this Porsche red or?
This is Porsche Guards red, applied by myself in my own garage without a spray booth, with clear coat over the top and acrylic lacquer.
Beautiful car. Very nicely detailed engine compartment. How long have you had this car?
I've had it 5 years. I drove it 2 weeks before I completely disassembled it, and it's taken me 5 years to get it back together again, Dick. There wasn't a single panel on the car that was straight when I purchased the car. I had to put a new frame under it that was straight. I had to put a new firewall section in, and it's just been a lot of hard work, but I think it's worth it now.
Is it fair to ask you how much money you have in the car?
Yes, I guess. Out of pocket money, I have $25,000 into the car without my labor. I've done everything on the car myself, with the exception of the engine machine work and the upholstery.
I know a lot of times a little too much emphasis, I think, is put on value in the car. These cars are valuable cars. They're collectible cars now, and you've maintained this car in a mostly stock condition. Everything that's been done to the car to personalize it is a bolt-on feature. You haven't really violated this car in any way.
I don't think so. I hope not.
And any of the work done by anybody else on the car that you'd like to mention before we go?
Yes, a neighbor and friend, Chuck Darrielli, who helped me straighten the stainless and polish it. John Parkhurst of Issaquah, who did the leather interior in the car, and Custom Machine in Ballard for doing the superb job on the engine machine work and blueprinting.
All right, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate it. Your car is a nice addition to the show here. All right, that's it from the Northwest Muscle Car Meet here at Bush's. I want to thank John Pearson, president of the Northwest GTO Legends.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you guys coming out.
Well, it's been a real pleasure. Now, we're going to be back next week with more Cruzin Northwest. I want you to stay tuned. Join us then. For now, it's goodbye from Bush's in South Tacoma, the Northwest Muscle Car Meet. See you next week. Thank you. All right, a couple upcoming events here. We have the PISRA's 16th Annual Family Affair Rod Run in Chilliwack, BC. That's August 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's presented by the Pacific International Street Rod Association. These people put on a fine affair up there. It's going to be at the Chilliwack Fairgrounds. Also coming up, we have the 6th Avenue Strip Merchants Association, and Seafirst Bank presents the Car Show and Street Fair, August 15th, rain or shine, 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. This will be Cruise the 6th Avenue Strip. This is in Tacoma, 6300 6th Avenue. Rods, customs, lowriders, everything. We're going to have a $4 entry fee, but there's going to be dash plaques, all kinds of prizes. See you next week.
Transportation for some of our guests is provided by Limo Dream, just about the classiest way to get anywhere, and remarkably affordable. Limo Dream, serving the entire Puget Sound area with style.